I'd like to invite Nataliya Remez, Director of Platform Engineering at PayPal, talks to me building sustainably in the cloud. So today there are more than 200 global organizations that have signed the Climate Pledge. They're pursuing ambitious carbon reduction activities, so operational changes to fight climate change, switch to more renewable sources of energy. So Nataliya is going to talk about how we can continue to scale, especially in the cloud, while keeping track of minimizing one's carbon footprint and energy consumption. Take it away, Nataliya.
Hello and welcome to my talk, Building Sustainable in the Cloud. My name is Nataliya. I'm Ukrainian who is living in Stockholm, Sweden with my husband and two cats. I've been in the industry for quite a while now and currently leading platform engineering teams at PayPal within small merchant segment. Did you know that information, communications and technology industry, which delivers all the internet, video, voice and other cloud services, is responsible for up to 3.5% of global emissions? Worse still, these emissions are predicted to double by 2025. So how we as an industry can, if we not reduce, to at least sustain the cloud resources wisely? So what is sustainability? In the broadest possible sense, sustainability refers to the ability of something to maintain or sustain itself over time. In business and policy context, though, sustainability seeks to prevent the depletion of natural or physical resources so that they will remain available for the long term. We believe that everyone has a part to play in reducing carbon footprint, and we must recognize there are many advantages to building sustainable applications. They are almost always cheaper, they are often more performant, and they are often more resilient. Nothing happens in isolation. Everything is connected, and small changes lead to big changes. Even the act of raising a discussion about sustainability in your technical meetings will empower others to raise their voice. There is always something you can do to have an impact on your team, organization, industry. As organizations align their businesses with sustainable practices, it is important to review every functional area. If you are building, deploying, and maintaining your product in the cloud, improving its environmental impact requires informed decision-making. The shared responsibility model for sustainability shows how it is a shared responsibility between cloud vendor, in this case it's AWS, and their customers. There are clearly stating that it's a customer responsibility of how we use the service in the cloud, whilst the vendor is responsible for sustainability of the cloud. The sustainability pillar of the AWS well-architected framework provides the following design principle that can be easily applied for any cloud vendor of your choice. In this particular talk, I will use AWS for reference and some examples. Let's look at them one by one in brief. Understand and monitor your impact. It is important to do that. For example, when you are over-provisioning resources, it can lead to unnecessary infrastructure cost, and under-provisioning of resources can lead to poor application performance. AWS, in this case, recommend customers to use a service called Compute Optimizer, which recommends optimal AWS resources for your workloads to reduce costs and improve performance by using machine learning to analyze historical utilization metrics. In the end, it helps you to choose optimal configurations based on your utilization data. Let's have a look at the second principle, maximizing utilization. One can maximize utilization by looking at which type of storage can be best support how your data is accessed, and stored to minimize the resources provisioned while supporting your workload. It is important to monitor your data access patterns and migrate data to appropriate technology based on access pattern. Migrate archival data to storage designed for that purpose. There are some improvements to look at when it comes to data movement within the cloud environment as well. Always store data as close to the consumer as possible. Compress data before moving it over the network. Quite obvious, isn't it? Partition regionally consumed services so that the region-specific data is stored within the region where it is consumed. Use block-level duplication instead of file or object-level duplication when copying changes across the network. Some things you can always look at on optimizing the runtime environment. For example, you can look at reducing idle resources and maximizing utilization, using spot instances versus on-demand instances, enabling auto-scaling, which allows your workload to automatically scale up and down based on the demand. And for asynchronous workloads, try to use an event-driven serverless architecture so that compute is only used as needed and not in the idle state. Another principle states that we must use managed services. Managed services shift responsibility for maintaining high average utilization and sustainability optimization of the deployed hardware to the cloud vendor. Use managed services to distribute the sustainability impact of the service across all tenants of the service, reducing your individual contribution. As you can see on the example on the screen, one can use managed AWS RDS instances instead of maintaining your own RDS instances and EC2 and the benefits it gives you. Another principle, which is the last one but not the least one, is stating that we need to architect for sustainability. Event-driven architecture is common in modern applications built with microservices, and it is the foundation for designing serverless workloads. Event-driven architectures are push-based, so everything happens on demand as the event presents itself in the router. This way, you are not paying for continuous polling and check for an event. This also means that less network bandwidth consumption, less CPU utilization, less idle fleet capacity, and less TLS handshakes. I would like to end up with a statement that everyone has a part to play in the climate solution. Sustainability is enough, all by itself, to justify our work. Thank you, and Slava Ukraini!